Hi everyone and welcome back into Burner. Today we will turn to the bread of the Roman Empire. Now we know there's nothing novel here. Ever since the British Museum recreated the Panis Quadratus, everyone and their dog has recreated the famous petrified loaf. However, we cannot deny that the Panis Quadratus and its signature partitioned look have achieved a somewhat iconic level of recognition. Therefore, we simply feel obliged to include it in a History of Bread series. For this bread, we are going to need a lot of sourdough. So prepare 300 grams using the method from our previous video. Links in the description below. We have 500 milligrams of water, 20 grams of salt, 20 grams of honey, 500 grams of spelt flour, and finally 500 grams of wheat flour. Yes, it was under the Romans that common wheat, aka Triticum aestivum, came to the forefront. We have the ingredients from the archaeological find at Herculaneum, but for the method we have an actual source. Yes, a method for kneaded bread is contained in the Agri Cultura by Cato the Elder, who tells us,
Ave. What a horrible picture. Anyway, wash your hands and the bowl thoroughly.
We see that hygiene was already considered important. Very interesting. We're assuming flour is already in the bowl.
Add water gradually. And now knead thoroughly.
And?
That's it.
Really?
Pretty groundbreaking stuff, right?
This is why politicians shouldn't write cookbooks.
Hey!
See you later, Catman! The reason why Cato was probably a bit curt is that Romans didn't write down things they thought were obvious. But we know from the Herculaneum bread that there was leaven and salt in the breads, so we're going to knead in our beaker and then let it rest for 30 minutes. Before actually adding the salt, we're going to cut off a 200 gram portion. This was one of the most common ways, according to Pliny the Elder, of assuring they had leaven for the next day. But this is aside for when you make another loaf of bread. Add salt and honey to your dough and start kneading. Yes, actually kneading. Not glorified mixing, because now we actually have gluten strands to build. After kneading it well for about 10 minutes, pop it in a bowl and cover it with a towel. Then let it rise for about 2 hours. After 2 hours, it's time to give this bread that signature shape. This is also when you want to start preheating your oven at around 200 degrees Celsius. First, give it a light flour dusting, so it forms a skin. Then, tie around the string, which you've soaked in water for about an hour. Press down with a dough cutter or with the blunt side of a knife. We don't want to cut through the dough, we just want to press it down. The parts should remain attached to one another. This is a big loaf, so it will have to go in for at least 30 minutes, more likely closer to 45, depending on your oven. Keep an eye on it, you want it to look nice dark brown. Habebus panem Romanum. After letting it cool down, we took out a piece, which confirmed that this was indeed a serviceable bread. Bit dull though, so let's try something else. The annoying thing is that the great Roman writers loved talking and writing about bread, but they don't give us any recipes. Save one.
Me!
Yeah, sorry, Cato actually wrote a recipe for panis mustacei, so we're going to make these.
Take 1 modius of wheat flour.
All white wheat, wow, this must be fancy. Let us just check how much 1 modius actually is. A modius is a measure of volume of 8.7 liters? That's almost 4.5 kilos of flour. We're going to need a bigger bowl. Okay, that's the biggest one we have. Yeah. This might get a bit messy.
Moisten all of this with grape must.
Oh dear. Well, Grape must is essentially grape juice with pulp, peels and seeds still present. This is important because the peels contain yeast, which can act as a leaven. Since Cato doesn't specify any other liquid in his recipe, we believe we are going to need a hell of a lot. In our research, we read some contradicting things on this. Some say the must will suffice as a leaven, others say it's purely for flavor and texture. Guess we're about to find out firsthand. First, we crush all the grapes by hand. Then we leave this out for 2 days to get the souring started. We covered it with muslin cloth to keep bugs and dirt out, but don't seal it, as it will produce gases. After 2 days, we strained out the juice, which should now contain plenty of natural yeast. We used a food mill to make sure we got every drop out. This is optional though. After 2 further days, the juice started foaming. There was definitely yeast present. When the must is ready, we can add it to the modius of flour. From our testing, we gleaned that we needed 1.5 liters of grape must to hydrate all the flour. Add the must to the dough gradually. And with that, we go back to Cato.
Now add 2 pounds of lard and 1 pound of cheese.
2 pounds of lard and a pound of cheese? Sorry, cholesterol. For the cheese, Cato does not specify which cheese, so we are using a homemade ricotta.
Finally, add aniseed and cumin.
No amounts?
Nope.
Aniseed tastes like licorice, so we will only be using a tiny pinch of that. Cumin, on the other hand, tastes lovely, so we will be helping ourselves to a big load of freshly ground cumin seeds.
And that's it.
Brief as always. Thank you, Mr. Senator. That will be all.
Cheerio. Barley.
If, after adding in all those ingredients, all the flour still isn't being absorbed, add some more must. If you're out of must, feel free to add some grape juice. And now, really get to work. Put your back into it. This is a big ball of really sturdy dough. Expect to be working on this for about half an hour, if not more. You will break a sweat.
Just have your manservant do it.
Well, yes, that's what I'm doing. Oh, shouldn't you be gone? Come. He can hear us. When it's done, it should fit back into a bowl. Let it rest for a day, maybe even 2. You will probably want some rest too. Initially, we were skeptical whether grape must would have enough power to actually leaven such a greasy, heavy dough. So we made a second one which had a little bit of sourdough in it, just in case the pure must one didn't show any activity. However, we know from Pliny the Elder that Roman bakers did use must as a leaven. And lo and behold, he was right. All the bread in the remainder of this video uses just grape must as a leaven. We are going to put our rolls on bay leaves as per Cato's instructions. We assume Cato meant big fresh ones. All we have are these dried crumbly ones, but I guess you work with what you have. When you take the dough out of its container, you can again see the subtle but undeniable evidence of leavening. Make a ball and put it on a bay leaf. Lovely. Now put that aside and repeat for the entire dough ball. Yes, come on, time's a-wasting. We'll leave him to it, he might be a while. Oh wow, that all looks perfect. Oh. I see one is a little bigger than the others. Got tired, didn't we? To be fair, this might be a good thing. We'll get back to that. Let's do the small ones first. Preheat your oven to roughly 220 degrees Celsius and pop them in when it's up to temperature. Check on them after 20 minutes. Take them out when they are nice and dark brown. We tried different levels of doneness and the dark brown ones came out best. You can actually see the rise even better now. It's really baffling to know that this is purely powered by grape must. The crumb isn't airy, but it's a lot better than what we expected. Taste-wise, they're not bad, especially for unsalted bread. The aroma of the grape must is rather pleasant, and this would go really well with something really salty, like moratum, a cheese and herb mixture for which we will leave a recipe on our website. Now for the big one. Some of our research indicates that instead of small panis mustacei, we should be making one big panis mustaceius, a huge loaf served at weddings. First, give it a nice round shape and put it on a bed of bay leaves. Then give it some incisions to really make it look like Roman bread. We put some bay leaves on top too, but that's just for show. Now put this in the oven, which is at 220 degrees, for 1 hour. After 1 hour in the oven, take out your panis mustaceius. Make sure to check it with a skewer whether the inside is cooked. We had a few mishaps while testing. This thing is massive and the cheese and lard act like heat sinks. When cutting it open, it shows that the crumb is much denser compared to the smaller rolls. The grape must might be stronger than what we expected, but a big loaf like this seems to still be too heavy. And all of this shows how much bread you can make with 1 modius of flour. Now eat them all. Yes, come on, eat them all. Yes, all of it. We're not being wasteful here. Oh dear, yes, it is a bit much, isn't it? It is a wedding feast after all. Also, the lard in them makes them a bit heartburn-inducing. Let's hand them out. As our human distributes these around the neighborhood, bringing joy and increased cholesterol levels, we are left to ponder what to do with the big one. We can't really hand out this thing now, can we? And we can't bin it because wasting bread was heavily frowned upon. Luckily, there are loads of Roman recipes for repurposing old bread. Let's make this bread into a lovely patrician dessert called aliter dulcia. Cut all the crust of the bread and cut the crumb into cubes. Now drench them in whole milk, or if you can get your hands on it, unhomogenized creamy milk. While they're soaking, turn your oven back up to 200 degrees Celsius. Then put them on a different tray or pour away the excess milk that wasn't absorbed after 10 minutes. Place them in the oven once it's up to temperature. Take them out after 5 to 7 minutes. Now plate them and cover them in a generous helping of honey and a precious spice that only the richest of Romans could afford. Black pepper. Yes, black pepper and honey might seem like a weird combination, but black pepper goes surprisingly well with the viscous sweetness of honey. If you did all of this in one day, you did quite a bit of work. So please enjoy your proper patrician dessert. Please join us again in 2 weeks when we move on to the bread of the knights and kings of medieval Europe. We hope you enjoyed this video on bread in the Roman Empire. It's important to note that we just cherry-picked a few recipes. There's plenty more out there. If you liked it, please let us know in a comment below, or subscribe and leave a like. Thank you very much for watching.